Good evening to you and welcome to Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kinsley Emmanuel and I'm very happy to be here this evening to bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. It was really a lovely weekend and I tell you a lot happened, especially in the English Premier League. Not forgetting the German Bundesliga also made a return as well over the weekend. We'll take a look at all that happened in the top 5 leagues in Europe, as well as other stories revolving around the border sports. It promises to be an exciting edition, so we'll urge you to sit close to your TV set as we have a lot to unravel right here. We'll take a short break and we will come back, of course. We'll take you through all that happened over the weekend in the beautiful water sports. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. Like I told you, of course, we have a lot for you this evening. And joining me on today's edition of the show is Emmanuel Michael. Michael, good evening to you and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening to you, Kingsley. Good evening to our viewers out there. And, I'm always happy to be here.
All right, let's, of course, bring you the latest revolving around sports down here in Nigeria. We'll take a look at archery, as the Nigerian archery team has once again made the nation proud with a stellar performance at the annual archery championship held from August 18 to 24th of August in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. Competing for the second time as its team at the prestigious event, Nigeria showcased its prowess in the disciplines of barebow, recurve, and compound archery, wherein all medals were won by Team Nigeria. The team comprising talented archers from the Archery Club and Zen Archery Club demonstrated exceptional skill and sportsmanship throughout the tournaments. Their dedication and hard work paid off as they brought home 10 gold, 2 silver, and 4 bronze medals across various categories. Michael, what do you make of the performance of the Nigerian archery team?
5-star. Very impressive display from the Nigerian archery team. It's not one of those popular sports, but then if you take a look at what they've done, I think if given more attention, I believe we can also, even do better, making their presence felt in the African scene. One of the sports that is relatively unknown in this part of the climb, but then I think Nigeria is doing pretty well, winning 10 gold medals, for this very one. It's a statement of intent, and it clearly tells you that if you can invest, much in archery, we can actually, use that as one of the area of strength in our sport right here in the country. My only challenge is about our administrators. Most time that you see some sport doing pretty well in the country, you just discover that instead of putting every effort or every necessary, instrument on ground to ensure that we continue to, gain the limelight that such a sport truly deserve, our administrators tend to take a different direction by not even focusing on how to improve the team as well, and so, and that is why it has actually cost us that so many times we tend to drop in the level of performance out there. When we get to the next edition of any major tournament, that is when the federation of such a discipline or such sport rather will begin to, rally around and see if they can be able to galvanize support for such team. And it doesn't, speak well for us I mean, we should be able to sustain the momentum. After this very one that have gone out there to do us proud, you don't just forsake about the team. You continue to keep a close tab on them, continue to organize mini competitions so that they will continue to keep themselves very relevant and keep themselves in shape so that in the next outing of any major tournament, can be rest assured that yes, they are very much a prime to go out there and replicate the same positive fit in this, first instance. But then you discover that most time after they go out there, come back, winning such a, big trophy, nobody cares about them again. They will be giving handshake and everybody goes their different ways. So for me, administration seems to be the bane. Not that we don't have the talent here in the country, not that we don't have people who are capable to also continue, to improve on the gains that we've also achieved in this edition, but just that, lack of seriousness in terms of on the part of our administrators rather, have made it very difficult for most of these, talents to also continue to exhibit their God-given skills out there.
All right, we'll hope that, of course, the team will continue to, improve in this performance we saw in Abidjan. Let's see how far, of course, they will go with this. The Archery Federation, I hope they'll also step up their game as well with this particular feat. And still talking about sport down here in Nigeria, Nigeria's 8-man table tennis squad to the 2024 Paralympic in Paris, tutored by Nasiru Sule, is determined to bring medals home from the event that begins on Thursday, 29th August 29th. We hear, of course, the Nigerian para table tennis team are getting very much prepared. Don't forget, the Paris Olympic Game kickstarts on August 28th and will run till September 8th. So the Nigerian para table tennis team are getting very much ready for this. So, about Michael, what do you make of their preparation so far ahead of the Paralympic Games?
It has been near perfect, going by report and going by information on ground. I think they've actually prepared very well for this very one. They started the preparation right here in the country before jetting out. So for me, if there's anything to go by, I believe they have what it takes, to do, pretty well, or even surpass their previous, record. And of course, go through the record of the Nigerian para team, especially the table tennis event. We've been able to do well in that regard. We actually won 2 gold medals, about 3 silver, and the rest of it. So for me, going by that, rich history that we have, I believe with the necessary preparation that I've also, continued to beef up their, squad, or even continue to prepare ahead of this very one. I believe they are going to go out there and do us proud. Don't forget, out of the 12 billion that was earmarked for Team Nigeria in this year's Olympic game, 3 billion went to the Paralympic team to enable them prepare for this very one. So, and if you take a look at the mood in the camp of the para-athlete, the Nigerian para-athlete, I think it's clearly pointing to the direction that indeed they are ready to do us proud. Then again, considering the very poor outing of Team Nigeria talking about their able-bodied counterpart in the just concluded Olympic game, I think that will also be at the back of their mind. They wouldn't want to also go out there and come back without anything or without improving on their past performance. So for me, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that with this, they are going to even, see if they can be able to surpass their previous achievements.
Let's say it goes, of course, for Team Nigeria. The Nigerian team for 6 men and 2 women will compete in doubles, mixed doubles, and single events. The country has a proud history in Paralympic table tennis, having won 2 gold and 3 bronze medals since their first win in Atlanta in 1996. Sule, who won the bronze medal in Atlanta, believes the team's extensive preparation in Nigeria and Germany has set them up for success. The para table tennis event will take place at the South Paris Arena from Thursday, August 29 through Saturday, and it would end on September. Men's and mixed doubles event, while the men's and women's singles will begin on Sunday, September 1st, with 181 athletes competing for glory in Paris this time. And we hope that Team Nigeria, of course, will do the needful this time in making sure at least they surpass the record they put up last time in terms of amassing medals. They won a total of 10 medals last time in Tokyo. We'll see if they can be able to get past that particular record this time around. But Michael, away from the Paralympics, the U.S. Open is upon us, and as it stands, some games are ongoing at the moment. But what are your expectations for the U.S. Open this time?
Impeccable organizational structure, most importantly. That is my first expectation. Then again, I'm also expecting Novak Djokovic, this time around to also continue to ride on. As a defending champion and coming at the back heel of winning his gold medal at the just concluded Paris Olympic Games, which is one of the trophy that have actually eluded him in his career. He has been able to win this very one. So he will be buoyed by the fact that he has won everything that he needed to be won, in the world of tennis. But he will be pursuing his 25th Grand Slam. And if he get to win this very one, to make it 25th, I think he's going to, stand ahead of every other player, both present and past. So I'm expecting Novak Djokovic to also fight from all front. But then, we still have some obstacles there, as well as to tackle with, because we still have the likes of Yannick Sinner, who is the world #1. Still have Carlos Alcaraz, Taylor Fritz, Emma Raducanu, to name but few of those big name stars that will be there as well. Try to win this very one. Of course, this is the last Grand Slam of the year. Most of these players want to also see if they can be able to finish very, strong for the season. Some of these players haven't won any major so far this year. Even Novak Djokovic, expecting a very good organization. I'm also expecting Novak Djokovic to go out there and prove a point to the world by winning a 25th Grand Slam in all. But then, like I said, it's not going to be an easy one. He needs to contend with some other big name players out there if we truly want to achieve that mark.
Let's see how it goes. We hope that Novak Djokovic, of course, will try most can to see how he can, defend the title. Of course, he won last time. And but what about the female category, Michael? What are your expectations as well? Iga Swiatek not being a very good one in the last two tournaments. Arina Sabalenka seems to be the lady, of course, everyone is looking up to at this one. But do you expect much, from Iga Swiatek in this one?
Well, for Iga Swiatek, she has not been very, good so far this season, despite the fact that she has continued to maintain her world #1 status. But then, you take a look at the way she was hosted out of the just concluded Olympic game, it wasn't a good one. As a world #1 heading into such major tournament, many of the tennis fans out there expected her to come out gun blazing to ensure that at least she put smiles in the faces of her fans out there. But then it was quite disappointing. But I think she will also want to pick up, her mojo after the disappointing outing at the Paris Olympic Games. So she's still one of the favorites. But then, like that the WTA is one, stage that is very competitive compared to the ATP. I'm not saying that the ATP is not that competitive, but the level of competitiveness within the WTA is always very high, where we have top-notch players. Don't forget, this year's edition, we are going to have Naomi Osaka back on the court as well. Aina Zabalenka, Emma Raducanu, name them. These are top-notch players that will be ready as well to give her a run for her money. So in the WTA, it's very much open for anybody to claim it.
Very much open, of course, for anybody to claim it, and we'll see what, of course, these players will be able to do at the end of the day. But let's quickly stay away from that, as of course, we'll go on a short break this evening, and we will come back from the break. We'll be able to bring the latest revolving around the beautiful world of football. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back. Steve Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. And of course, I'll be bringing you the latest revolving around the beautiful world, especially all that happened over the weekend. And of course, Emmanuel Michael is here, and together we'll be looking at the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports this evening. But before we talk football, Michael, there was a Dutch Grand Prix over the weekend. Max Verstappen to take up this one.
Yes, very impressive show from London Norris. I think he has come this season and he wants to make a statement of intent. And for Max Verstappen, I think he has been a very disappointing one. Going 5 straight races without a win, not a good one for Max Verstappen. And the point lead right now for the Red Bull and Max Verstappen is being reduced every race that goes by. You know, he's just 70 points right now that he's still leading. And so many persons are beginning to wag their tongue about what his teammates talking about Sergio Perez is doing, because he looks as though it is only Max Verstappen that is holding sway, that is carrying the burden of Red Bull out there in his shoulder. I mean, his teammate out there has been very disappointing so far this season.
Max Verstappen championship point has now been slided. It has now been, cut down to 70. He's leading by still 70 points.
I said that. I mentioned that earlier, and it's very disappointing. But for London Norris, I think it's a big momentum for him. He's beginning to bounce back to reclaim that. Top sport as well. So I think the next race is even going to be more stiffer, more tougher for the Red Bulls out there, and Mercedes and the rest of other teams out there. But then Max Verstappen was able to dominate the Formula One. It looked as though he was trying to make it a world on his own, and it's becoming one-sided. So I think we are beginning to see some level of competition in the Formula One, and if London Norris can also continue to maintain that momentum, I tell you, it might just be the man that is going to, cut the lead of Max Verstappen to even further reduce the points lead from 70 right now. Still have about a few races to go before the end of this season. So for me, big congratulations to London Norris. But for Max Verstappen, he needs to up his game.
Really need, of course, to up his game. Michael, what do you make of it? Any surprise for you seeing McLaren, trying to close the gap with Red Bull this time around? You take a look at the drivers' standing. London Norris is a little bit close at this point. Max Verstappen leading by 70 points, which is, of course, something that the second driver can possibly, of course, catch up with. I take a look at the Constructors' Championship as well. McLaren are now 31 points behind Red Bull in the quest for their first, team title for 26 years now. I don't know what you make of it. Any surprise for you? Did you expect to see McLaren in this level?
Of course, they showed that sign in race 9, if I'm not mistaken. They begin to show that sign of, that improvement. And of course, you had their chief principal.
This is London Norris' second title for the season.
Yeah. Immediately they won their first race of the season. You had their chief principal was also talking tough, saying that they were ready to improve in the engine as well and put some touches in the car as well to ensure that they compete on a very high level with Red Bull. And I think that is what they are doing. With consistency and dedication of their team driver, talking about London Norris, I believe they can, get something. If only if Max Verstappen does not up his ante, then I tell you, it might possibly catch up with him, but it's still very difficult because there's no how you tell me within the next race that is remaining that Max Verstappen will not definitely win 1 or 2. So I think, but as it stands right now, like I said earlier, we are beginning to see this level of high level of competition. It is no longer one-horse race like what we saw last season, where Max Verstappen was just riding, solo, as though the Formula One is made for him. So we need to see this competitiveness, and this will help other teams as well to sit up. And then to also tell the Red Bull and Max Verstappen, they are not unbeatable, they are beatable. Error come and go, and it looks as though the form of Max Verstappen is gradually dropping every day.
All right, of course, we understand that there was a little bit of upgrade in the McLaren car.
Yeah.
And that's why, of course, we're seeing them in this momentum. But is Mercedes still in the picture for the title? Are they still in
For
the
Mercedes,
title race? Yes.
No. But then I think for Mercedes, they still have one or two races. We still have some races to go. So you can't rule away Mercedes. If they can actually do a little touch on the engine, on their cars, how they're talking about their engine, I think Mercedes can also stake a claim. But then competing at the highest level with the likes of McLaren and the Red Bull, I think it's going to be very difficult. But you can't rule them out. They are still in for this very one.
Let's see how it goes, of course, for McLaren. They seem to, of course, to be putting up, some interesting stuff out there. We'll see how the season, of course, will end for them. But away from it against Asfa of Morocco. Michael, what do you make of the All-Star once again for Remo Stars in the CAF Champions League?
Not, exciting one for our team here. Not exciting one at all. I expected us to go out there, at least hold our own. If not for anything, go there and play goalless draw, even 1-1 draw. That would have, seen them through.
Like they were sitting, they were, trying most kind to hold them, put up the defense, in a very good way. But the guys from Casablanca were still very much penetrative to get those goals.
Our defense line was not that good, and that is why they had to concede. If their defense line were good, they should have been able to finish the game. And for me, I'm not an advocate of a set of play in football. In fact, I hate it, but I hate negative approach to football. North African team coming to your home, running away with a slim defeat. It still gave them that hope that if you can come to your home and score and you were able to score just a goal and we reply with one. I mean, if you come back to our home, we are going to finish the job. That is what they did. Take a look at the history of a Nigerian team playing against the North African. It has always been a very difficult puzzle or a very heavy bone in our neck for us to chew and digest it properly, and that is why the record has never been in our favor. Despite the antics deployed by Remo Stars to see if they can be able to put themselves in the same atmosphere of the Moroccans, it proved abortive. They also took some instrument of music out there to try to replicate the fans out there, but then it wasn't, to be.
You see, how many times did they do that? That's the thing. Before you get mastery of a thing, you need to do that thing at least more than once.
Yeah, and of course, this is the first time they are playing under the floodlight. They had to go there and practice to see if they can be able to master themselves in playing under the floodlight. But these are things that naturally we should be seeing in our own leagues here. If we have proper facility, good stadium, and the lighting is functioning, these are things that should be very natural to us. You don't go there and try to perfect your way of trying to play under the floodlight within few days before. It clearly tells you of the clear disparity of the quality between the North African teams and the Nigerian teams.
That's it. And of course, a very sad one you see for Remo Stars being hosted out by the same team in the CAF Champions League, talking about Asfa FC of Morocco. Another Nigerian side was also eliminated over the weekend. That's Economy Warriors. Think of it, Economy Warriors is, a little bit of an experienced side, when it has to do with even domestic and continental football. But DJFC, they don't have that continental experience at all. What could have been responsible for this easy, a setback for Economy Warriors?
It's very simple. The Benenua, like I told you in our sister station, I did a little findings, a little research. I discovered that they have mapped out about 8 years plan, for sport development, not just football. And they are beginning to gradually reap the benefit of what they've invested over the last 8 years, and they are still building. This is just more like a tip of the iceberg of what we are to expect from the Benin Republic teams out there in terms of their sport administration. And you saw this same team actually defeated, their national team actually defeated the Super Eagles away from their home, This is the same Super Eagles that you want to say that there's a clear contrast in terms of the quality, in terms of experience, in terms of pedigree of African and world football. Even the ranking alone clearly tells it all, that there is a gulf in class between the Super Eagles and the Benin national team. But then we went there away from their own home, and they defeated us. You know, so for me, they have also replicated that what their senior national team did to the Super Eagles. It's not by chance. It wasn't by fluke. And that is why DJFC, one of their clubs out there, defeated a renowned team right here in the country, because Academy Warrior, their household name in terms of the Nigerian football, you know, competition or league right here. You know, they have a rich history. But then going away to relatively unknown team from Benin Republic, that population is less than 2 states right here in the country, defeating us. That is how bad it is, and that is how, you know, degrading our league is, and that is how disorganized and disoriented, you know, our, you know, football teams organize themselves out here. Because there's nothing you tell me that I will agree that a team from Benin Republic, DJFC, have you even heard of the name even before the game? No, I don't have any history. But then coming to defeat the Nigerian clubs, that is to tell you how the level of, you know, less quality that we've seen right here in the country. So, and it's a big worry to me, because it will continue in this direction. It's not going to be a good one for us. Don't also forget that some coaches right here in the country is also leaving to Benin Republic teams out there, to Benin Republic clubs. So if some of our coaches is already leaving to go coach teams out there in Benin Republic, it clearly tells you that there is something that is happening. Because if their league were not good, if their league were that poor, none of our coaches would have left the Nigerian Premier Football League right here to go coach a Benin Republic team. But then it's because of the structure, because of the plan that they've put on ground in terms of sport development, and that is why they are making it very lucrative right now, to the intent that our you know, coaches is beginning to leave to go and coach them out there.
What's happening to our own football system? We heard Morocco have about you know, over 10 years football plan, and now you're just talking about Benin Republic having 8-year football plan as well. I remember when the former Minister of Sport was around talking about Sunday Dare, there was a proposed 10-year football plan down here in Nigeria. But since the new sport minister came, we haven't really heard much about, you know, that particular proposal. I don't know what you make of it.
And since Sunday Dare left the office, have you heard about the proposition of that idea? I have not heard. Continuity is another problem right here. If you come as the president of this country, Kingsley, you would not want to continue in the past projects of you know, the next governor. You want to carve your own program to say, yes, this is my own you know, identity. During my time in office, this is what I did. You want some project that will reflect your name, more like they call it signature project when you leave office. Thereby you abandon the previous, you know, programs, even though some of those programs and ideas are very lofty ones. But then just because of, I don't know whether it is greed or selfishness or lack of proper administrative skills, it's more like a signatory project to say, yes, in my time in office, this is what I did. But should it be so? No. In a developed climate, there is continuity, and that is why government itself is continuum. So if government is continuum, why, if you come into office and you met a very lofty idea or a good proposition from the previous you know, administrator, why not work on it? Run with it, so long as it is for the benefit of the entire country, for the benefit of sport development. But then we jettison such ideas because we want to reinvent a new idea that will give us you know, a praise. We're talking about Nigeria that have been ever present at the World Cup. So this is the reflection of what they've actually invested. But we don't want to go. You can get it right when you are going with a quick fix syndrome.
All right, let's go. But so unfortunate that Economy Wars, they've been ousted out from the CAF Confederation Cup, and then Remo Stars as well, they've been ousted out from the CAF Champions League. So we only have Rangers International still in the CAF Champions League. They were able to overcome Zilimaju FC to get, of course, to the next round of the competition. Enyimba were given a bye, but they will be coming back. They'll be back in the second round of the competition to continue. How far would they go? That's actually the big question at the moment. But we have to stay away from the continent of Africa as we'll take a look at the latest concerning football in Europe. And we'll start with the English Premier League, where we saw 10 games being played in match day 2 of the English Premier League. A total of 34 goals, of course, were scored. And we have about 5 home wins, 4 away wins, and we have a total of 44 yellow cards being distributed across different match centers. No yellow card, of course, was recorded in match day 2. Michael?
They will be thinking that they are doing better compared to your league, because when you're having too much red card and yellow card in football, it simply means that that league is very rough, and nobody wants to watch a very rough league. But then, like I said earlier, it is very typical of the English Premier League Football League to see some of these yellow cards because of the high intensity of the English Premier League. But in all, I think the weekend game in the EPL was very, very exciting one to watch. We'll have some highlights from some of the games. Manchester United, how they were able to, you know, not sticking to the game plan by getting all 3 points, allowing Brighton. Other highlight like Anslot, Chelsea. So for me, I think you take a look at the stats, very, very okay for me.
All right, talking about performance of teams, Chelsea, you know, surprised everyone over the week.
So in the game of football, it's about you taking your chances, meaning that you must take all 3 points. So taking a look at the Enzo Maresca board, they are beginning to gel. They have played 3 games in all during his active matches. Lost first game, won their second UEFA Conference League 2-0, winning their game against Wolves over the weekend 6-2. I mean, there's level of improvement going forward. From the first day game against Man City, you saw that improvement in their second game against Soviet. Then again, they also continue to ride on, bringing that same level of energy to the weekend game against Southampton, that is against Wolves rather, that is very, very stubborn. This same Wolves defeated them home and away last season. This same Wolves, Arsenal struggled to defeat them 2-0, and this same Wolves is Chelsea was able to dismantle, discombobulate, you know, by 6-3. It clearly tells you that the Enzo Maresca's ball seems to be gaining momentum.
Okay, let's see how it goes for Enzo Maresca going forward. We hope they can build on this performance. But away from that, Bournemouth still want to draw against Newcastle United. And of course, Liverpool beat Brentford by 2-0. And Brighton and Hove Albion, they beat Manchester United by 2-1. Crystal Palace lost to West Ham United by 2-0. Fulham beat Leicester City by 2-1. Manchester City beat Ipswich Town by 4-1. And Southampton lost to Nottingham Forest by 1-0. Tottenham Hotspur beat Everton by 4-0. And Aston Villa, they lost to Arsenal by 2-0 in that particular encounter. Away from that, let's take a look at the Spanish La Liga, as we saw a total of 21 goals being scored across 10 match venues. We saw 6 home wins, 2 away wins, and as well 2 score less draw in that particular encounter. A total of 46 yellow cards were distributed across different match venues, and just 1 red card was given out in match day 2 in the Spanish La Liga. But Michael, all eyes are on Kylian Mbappe. It's been 2 games now in the Spanish La Liga, and he's been unable to register a goal. It was, yes, a very good outing for Real Madrid against Real Valladolid, but Mbappe's efforts, according to some fans, was not really felt.
It's too early to start judging Kylian Mbappe. We know of his quality, all-time goal scorer, top scorer for the Paris Saint-Germain, where he left to Real Madrid right now. I've also won the Golden Boot for the Ligue 1 side for a consecutive 4 good times. So his record in terms of goal prowess is...
Red card, of course, also in the Italian Serie A over the weekend. But talking about the result, Fiorentina played goalless again, were also recorded. But it was another huge numbers of yellow cards. So 42 yellow cards have been distributed across different centers in the 9 matches we saw in March 2. 3 red cards as well were also recorded. But talking about the result of games played, RC Lons beat Brest by 2-0 and North beat Ulster by 2-0. Nice played 1-1 draw against Toulouse. Strasbourg beat Rennes by 3-1. Marseille played 2-2 draw against Reims, and Lyon lost to Monaco by 2-0. Lille beat Angers by 2-0, and Saint-Etienne lost to Le Havre by 2-0. Paris Saint-Germain, in the absence of Kylian Mbappe, keeps scoring huge number of goals as they beat Montpellier by 6-0 to that particular encounter. But in the German Bundesliga, we saw 9 games being played across different centers, and 30 goals, of course, were recorded in different match venues. We saw 4 home wins and as well 3 away wins and 2 score draw, and we saw a total of 31 yellow cards and 2 red cards in the German Bundesliga. But